Kia ora, everyone, and I'm so excited to be speaking with you today. And for those who do not know, my name's Brian Ang. I'm a glaucoma specialist based in Melbourne, but I also spent 2 years doing my glaucoma fellowship in Wellington under Professor Tony Wells. And so New Zealand has many, many fond memories for me, including hiking the Tongariro crossing, swimming with dolphins in Kaikoura, and enjoying a delicious honey feast in Rotorua. But I digress. So back to tonight's topic. I'd like to share why glaucoma isn't just about eye pressure, and it's a topic that's really close to my heart. So if you're watching this, then you will know that glaucoma is caused by high pressure. And it's the main risk factor for glaucoma. But did you know that, now let's see if I can do my screen. Oh, hang on a minute. Okay, yeah. But did you know that glaucoma can occur even with normal eye pressure? And this happens in about 30% of glaucoma patients. In certain Asian populations, this affects up to 92% of patients. So up to 92% of Asian patients have normal eye pressures. So can you imagine this scenario? You might be so diligent in putting in your drops. You're following the instructions that your ophthalmologist gave you, but yet you could still be losing vision even though your eye pressure is normal. And this is very personal for me because that's exactly what happened to my father. So dad is 79 years old now, and he is a retired GP. He used to practice in a small town in Malaysia. And it's actually so small that I used to joke that there are no traffic lights, no roundabouts, and the only time we get a traffic jam is when cows were crossing the road. And no, I did not get confused. It's definitely Malaysia, not New Zealand. Okay, back to my dad. He had always had good vision, never needed to wear prescription distance glasses. Eye pressures have always been normal, never had any eye issues until he lost half of his vision from glaucoma, even though his eye pressure is normal. And you can see that on this visual field. You can see that he's lost really the top half of his visual field. Yeah. So me being the concerned son and the glaucoma specialist, I made sure that he was put on the best eye drops. Because he's in Malaysia, I flew him over to Melbourne so that I could do laser for him. I made sure that he followed his eye specialist instructions right down to the T because I wanted to reduce his eye pressure further. But deep down inside me, I always felt like there was something else that was missing in his care. And that's when I started to delve more deeply into what else we could do beyond just reducing eye pressure. Because the truth is this, glaucoma is not about eye pressure at all. It's really about the health of the optic nerve. And the role of the optic nerve is to transmit information from the eye to the brain in real time. So you can think of it as the light speed HDMI cable that's connecting the Ultra HD camera to the super processor computer in your brain. And for you to see well, you need a healthy, functioning optic nerve. The trouble is that the optic nerve requires a lot of metabolic support, and it's highly vulnerable to damage, not just from pressure, but also from daily stress and physical aging. And this is why you can get glaucoma damage even though your eye pressures are normal. And this is also why it's very important that we focus efforts on strengthening the optic nerve, making it more resilient and reducing its vulnerability to damage. But what if I told you that instead of doing that, instead of strengthening your optic nerve, you might be accidentally harming it instead? What if there were daily habits that you are doing that could be causing damage to your optic nerve without you even realizing it? I call this blind spot habits. And this evening, I'm going to share 5 blind spot habits that could harm your optic nerve. Here's the first blind spot. Too much screen time. So a lot of people are concerned about screen overexposure, and rightly so. But this is usually in the context of digital eye strain and potential radiation-induced damage to the retina. So no, just I want to clear it up right off that there is no direct link between screens and glaucoma. But when you are spending too much time in front of screens, it means you are not moving around, you are not exercising, you're not engaging in physical activity. And let's face it, sometimes it's a lot easier just to sit in your comfortable sofa and watch television or watch a screen watching sports. The trouble with that, of course, is that your optic nerve is potentially then not receiving enough of blood. The circulation to your optic nerve is not being supported. And this means that the optic nerve may not be receiving the metabolic support that it needs. The circulation is not sufficient to keep up with the metabolic demands of the optic nerve. And this can potentially increase your glaucoma risk by 2.4 times. So the solution to this, of course, is to schedule in exercise on a daily basis. And I don't mean going to the gym and hitting the barbells for 2 hours every day. Even just doing 10 minutes of extra walking every day. This will help to make a difference over the long term. Ideally, you want to do at least 30 minutes of brisk walking. You want to do an exercise that will get your heart rate going. So choose something that you enjoy doing. Walking, swimming, cycling, Tai Chi. And if you can, get an exercise buddy to do the exercise with you and also to help keep you accountable. Because if you can engage in regular, moderate exercise, then the studies show that you could reduce your risk by 58%. And this is why physical activity is the first key pillar of proactive glaucoma care. The second blind spot is letting frustration build up. And by that, I mean not managing your stress. Because when you have glaucoma, it's stressful enough as it is. But stress makes it worse. Personally, I feel that stress is a highly under-recognized risk factor for glaucoma. Because when you are stressed, your body produces a lot of stress hormones. And one of them happens to be cortisol, which, of course, as you know, is a steroid. And steroids can elevate eye pressure. And the studies have confirmed this. Studies have shown that stress can increase eye pressure, and this can be as much as 4 millimeters mercury, which, of course, as you know, can be significant in those who already have advanced glaucoma damage. So what can you do about it? Excuse me. Obviously, I can't ask you to live a life of no stress because I mean, come on, even the Dalai Lama feels stressed, right? So the key here is to be able to manage your stress effectively. One of the best ways to do this is by deep breathing. Sorry. One of the best ways of managing stress is through deep breathing. And the way you practice this is you take 5 seconds to breathe in and 5 seconds to breathe out. And you do this 3 times a day for a few minutes. And the research has found that doing this could help you to achieve an additional 12.5% reduction in eye pressure. So this is quite significant. Personally, I feel that deep breathing helps me to stay relaxed and calm, especially when I'm stuck in traffic and I'm rushing for an important meeting. Oh, I'm rushing to pick the kids up from childcare before they start charging me an arm and a leg every minute that I'm late. So this makes stress management the second key pillar of proactive glaucoma care. Now, stress doesn't occur in isolation. It bleeds into other aspects of our daily life. And this leads nicely to the third blind spot. Sleeping late. Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but how many of you know of someone who's staying up late because of work? Or because Netflix has just dropped the latest season and you just had to finish the next episode? The thing about sleep is that it's not just rest. It's also about repair and recovery for your optic nerve cells. When you are in deep sleep, you are able to clear out any metabolic waste. You help to restore circulation and you help to regulate your cortisol levels. And if you skimp on sleep, that means that you are missing out on this nightly reset. And the research has found that if you sleep for less than 3 hours every night, then you have a 3 times increase in fuel loss. And this is quite significant. So you got to make sure that you aim to have good quality sleep for at least 7 hours every night. A point to note is that when you sleep for more than 10 hours, that's also harmful for your eyes. So that's why 7 hours is kind of like the sweet spot. And if you have sleep apnea, please make sure you get that managed too, because untreated sleep apnea can increase your glaucoma risk by 10 times. And so this makes sleep the third key pillar of proactive glaucoma care. By the way, if you know of any Netflix binge watchers and you ask them to stop watching and go to bed instead, it's a bit like me asking my kids to clean up their mess. They hear you, they say they're listening to you, but you just know that it's not going to happen. All right, we'll move on to the fourth blind spot. This blind spot is actually a bit of a modern epidemic. And yes, I'm talking about sugar. Too much sugar is actually not good for your health. And I'm sure you know this already, but it's particularly bad for eye health. And here's why. When you are snacking on sweets, when you have too much sugar in your diet, it increases systemic inflammation. It increases insulin resistance. And this can impair blood flow to your optic nerve and affect cell metabolism. And I'm not just talking about candy and sweet desserts. It's also the hidden sugars you get in ultra-processed foods, in sauces, in um, uh, in ultra-processed foods, and even in healthy snacks. These can all add up fast. And over time, this creates a metabolic environment that's really hostile to the health of your optic nerve. And it can increase your glaucoma risk by 51%. So what can you do? Well, if you like snacking, then why not snack on fruits and vegetables instead? Eat apple, carrot, celery. Yes, I know. A light green celery stick doesn't sound as appealing as a salted caramel macaron that's drenched with premium infused cacao flavor, the pinnacle of dessert luxury that is so ultra processed that just by looking at it, you spike your blood sugar. So essentially, you want to just make sure you eat lots of fruits and vegetables, because when you eat a really healthy diet, like the Mediterranean diet, you get a 79% reduction in your risk of glaucoma. So it's important to eat foods, real foods, that your grandmother would recognize. Eat plenty of eggs, fish, fruits, and leafy greens. And this makes nutrition the fourth key pillar of proactive glaucoma care. It's about what you eat and what you don't eat that's equally important. And now the fifth blind spot, and that's taking the wrong vitamins. But before I go into this, how many of you know of someone who is taking a supplement or a vitamin for their glaucoma? This is only going to increase in numbers. More and more people are realizing that they have to look after their eyes just as they would their skin, their brain, their heart. And many turn to supplements to cover any nutritional gaps that they might miss from their conventional treatment and from a healthy diet. So taking supplements for eye health is an increasing trend and is here to stay. So it's important that if you want to supplement, that you take the right vitamins and the right supplements. And you also have to make sure that you're taking the right dose too. I'm going to share two examples. The first example is taking the niacin form of vitamin B3 instead of the nicotinamide form. This is a very common example that I see because there's now quite a bit of body of research showing that vitamin B3 helps with glaucoma, but people don't understand that there are a few forms of vitamin B3, niacin being one of them, and nicotinamide being the other. And you really want to take the nicotinamide form, not the niacin form. Another supplement mistake that I see commonly is taking turmeric instead of saffron, thinking that they have the same benefits for glaucoma. They don't. Just because they are both bright yellow orange in color and are used in curries doesn't mean they are absorbed in the same way and deliver the same eye benefits. They don't. So then the question that people ask me is this: so which vitamin and which supplement should I take for glaucoma? And the answer to that is a little bit complicated, because you don't want to just take a generic multivitamin or a standard fish oil. What you want is to take the combination of supplements and vitamins that can target the cellular and circulatory risks of glaucoma. And these are aspects of glaucoma management that is not being addressed with conventional care. And this is why I spent over 2 years deeply researching and developing the NP10 system. This is an evidence-based framework that identifies and, more importantly, specifically counters the 10 key biocellular risks and mechanisms that drive glaucoma damage. This is a very, it looks complicated. And so to simplify this, I have I've grouped this into 4 core areas of optic nerve protection. The first core area is to reduce pressure and stress of the eye and of the mind. And here, saffron really stands out. The studies, saffron is just an amazing botanical herb, and it's been used for thousands of years in Persian and Ayurvedic medicine. And the research has shown that taking saffron can help to improve mood and reduce stress by 50%. And more importantly, it can also help to reduce eye pressure by 15.5% in stable glaucoma patients. The second core area is to support cell repair and cell energy. Here, vitamin B3 is important because it helps to um, recharge the batteries of your tired and stressed optic nerve cells, even when under pressure. Vitamin D is crucial for cell repair, even though the eye may be under constant stress. And you also want targeted antioxidants that can act at the deeper cellular and mitochondrial level. So antioxidants like grapeseed, saffron, bilberry, ginkgo biloba. So we are not really talking about general antioxidants like vitamin C or vitamin E. You want ones that can act at a deeper level. The third core area is vascular or circulation. So we want to improve circulation so that the optic nerve and your vision system overall can get the nutrition and oxygen that it needs to fulfill their metabolic demands. With this, ginkgo biloba and bilberry both excel. Both have been shown in clinical studies to be able to enhance blood microcirculation to the optic nerve and the brain, and in the process, help to slow down and even prevent the risk of peripheral vision loss, particularly in normal tension glaucoma patients. And finally, we also need to support the function of the optic nerve. And you can do that by supplementing with methylfolate and methyl B12. These are the two B vitamins that are essential for optic nerve function. So back to the question, what vitamins and supplements should I take for my glaucoma? So if you are looking for really comprehensive neuroprotection throughout all 4 core areas, then you want to take what I call the glaucoma vitamin stack. And these are the botanical extracts and vitamins in this stack, which covers all the 10 aspects that I have developed, all the 10 aspects in the NP10 system that I developed. The truth is that neuroprotection at this level of depth and specificity is simply not addressed with current conventional care. And this is a shame because this is a key, what I call the key neuroprotection gap that is missing in the way we manage patients currently. And so this makes neuroprotection with supplements the 5th key pillar of proactive glaucoma care. So back to my dad. This is what I got my dad to do. I encouraged him to continue with his daily exercise. So he goes to the gym every day. And he lives in an apartment on the 27th floor, and the gym is on the 5th floor. He goes to the gym every day, and I said, Dad, why not walk upstairs at the end of your gym session instead of taking the lift. And surprisingly, he agreed. So he's been doing this every day. And this was just amazing. Yo. He was already meditating as well. And I've encouraged him to continue with that practice. He sleeps 7 hours or so every night. He sleeps early and gets up early. And it's a good thing he doesn't have a Netflix subscription. He eats a fairly healthy diet. And I guess it's about as healthy as can be for someone living in Malaysia who's faced with daily sweet temptations every single day. And of course, I also got him to take the glaucoma vitamin stack because I wanted him to be fully covered from a neuroprotection perspective in accordance to NP10. So essentially, what I got my dad to do is to practice proactive glaucoma care, where you support and you complement existing glaucoma treatments through exercise, through stress management, sleep, nutrition, and supplementation. Remember, this was his visual field test that I showed right at the start. He lost his top half of his vision. And this was his most recent visual field test. And you can see that in this central area, there is now improved sensitivity, meaning that his eye is now detecting more, noticing more in that particular region. This was very surprising. This was very surprising for me. Excuse me. Thanks. This was very surprising. And I guess we've always been trained that, with visual fields, with glaucoma damage, you won't get any recovery. What's lost is lost. But in this case, there was clear improvement. And while I can't explain it fully, I guess it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, he's happy, I'm happy, and his treating eye specialist is happy. Excuse me. I'm actually starting to see this in some of my patients too. So this is excuse me. This is a 67-year-old lecturer. She is she's lost a lot of vision in her left eye, and this is long-standing. So the right eye, this eye, is her only good eye. But you can see she's also already lost a lot of visual field. Her visual field index is only 50%, which means she only has 50% of her vision remaining. She's already had laser, cataract surgery plus stents implanted, and her pressure is 12. I discussed proactive glaucoma care and NP10 with her, and she started practicing all that. And 6 months later, this is a visual field test. The VFI has improved from 50% to 54%, and the red circle highlights the area of improved visual field sensitivity. So again, improvement in her visual function. Here's another example. This is a 54-year-old public servant with normal tension glaucoma. She's on drops and never had any laser or surgery. Again, pressure is around 12. Her visual field index is 83%, and she has a superior paracentral scotoma. I discussed proactive glaucoma care with her, and along with NP10, and 13 months later, a repeat field test has shown that there is improvement in this area compared to previously, and her visual field index has also improved to 87% from 83%. So I think I owe it to you guys to try and explain what's happening as well. I think my best explanation is that the optic nerve is not just one nerve. It's a series of, probably hundreds and thousands of smaller optic nerve fibers. And these optic nerve fibers are in varying states of health. You've got healthy nerve fibers, sick nerve fibers, very sick nerve fibers, and dead nerve fibers. Obviously, the dead nerve fibers are dead. We can't do anything about it, and we can't grow or regenerate more nerve fibers. But when you are feeding your optic nerve cells with the correct nutrients, then the sick nerve fibers can improve as their health is being restored. Then their function also improves. And this is what I believe is happening. It's just a function of the sick cells getting better. And as they get better, they work better. And that's what it is. So I thought I would end this talk with a fun fact. And my kids love fun facts at the moment. So here's a scorpion, and scorpions are usually black in color. But did you know that when you shine UV light on a scorpion, it actually turns bright blue-green? So the reason I'm telling you this is because glaucoma care, when we shouldn't focus on just the obvious. So with glaucoma care, we shouldn't just focus on the obvious, which is eye pressure. We also need to look at the missing links, the missing gaps, because losing vision from glaucoma is a lot scarier than encountering a glowing scorpion in the dark. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to take questions.